Water is the most abundant type in all of Pokemon, comprising about 15% of all the Pokemon in the game. With that many Pokemon, you might think it'd be a little bit hard in order to try and nail down a specific playing style for the type. But let's dive right in and ask the question, how does Water type play? This video was brought to you by the members of the Crustacean Association, Finnegan Cleary, Aidan Tawney and Bill B. Thank you for your support. Starting with the cold hard stats, the first thing I always think of offensively with the Water type is that it's really balanced. This is something that's going to become a theme through this video, so get ready for me to say the words balanced and solid a lot. Hitting both ground and fire for super effective are great traits to have. Ground is home to some of the most dominant Pokemon in all of the game, Pokemon like Landorus or Great Tusk or Gliscor. Rock is much less relevant for Pokemon you're going to come up against, but I would say that the main thing with the Water type is that they really lack any real good resistances. For the vast majority of Water types, their most solid counter is going to be other Water types. That's really the only counter to a Water type. The other two of the types that resist them, Grass and Dragon, can simply be covered with an Ice move. A Water type with an Ice move is a great combo, probably better than an Ice type with an Ice move. You get all the great benefits of being a Water type, and you manage to cover your weaknesses, and you have a great attacking move. With only really one type that can consistently switch in on it, this makes the Water type brilliant at dealing neutral damage. It's not excellent against many things, but it is great against most things. And those things that it is excellent are, as we talked about before, are quite important. Defensively, I'd say the type is even better. They resist themselves, which is a hard thing to do, as we just established. They're also one of the best resistances to the Fire type, and they're on par with Steel in terms of an Ice resist. Ice types are normally really powerful attackers, so it's great to have that resistance. I'd say that they're on par with Steel just because Steel has more resistances, but Water is far more of a balanced type. That Steel resistance that they have is actually quite underrated. You've got Pokemon like Goldengo, Iron Crown, Scizor, or King Gambit flying around, or in King Gambit's case, sitting around. I don't imagine that he flies, but being able to resist them is a really important thing in an overused metagame. Water's weaknesses aren't the best types as well. If you were to pick two types to be weak to, I reckon Grass would definitely be up there, because there just aren't that many great attacking Grass types. Electric is also a really easy type to counter, with a ground type completely shutting them down, and they don't even resist water. So it's not like many of them can come in and tank a hit. You're probably going to have more trouble with these moves as coverage options, especially electric, as you don't really get that much grass coverage going about. Water's type chart is exceptionally good for making water a bit of an all-rounder. It's got no major drawbacks, but for a type that is a liquid, it is incredibly solid. It might be that water is the most abundant type in the game, but it has no monosyllabic archetype that you could apply to the entirety of the type. It's not like the dragon type where all Pokemon are all-powerful sweepers, or the poison type where most Pokemon are stall Pokemon. Water is like the liquid that it gets its name from. It will fit to any container, taking whatever shape it needs. The bulky Water is a Water type who, get this, is bulky. They're not defensive, they're not offensive, they are just there and they can do a lot of things. The Crocoon version of Suicune is the definitive bulky Water in my mind. It's capable of sticking around for a very long time, but it's also capable of being a massive threat to your team if you don't know how to deal with it. It's just a good Pokemon to have on your team in most scenarios. The stereotype of the bulky Water has been ever present in Pokemon. You've got Pokemon like Starmie or Swampert, or even Rotom for a while, who isn't even that bulky, but I would say it plays more like a bulky Water than it does any other archetype. In the modern game, this comes in the form of Primarina, who uses its two incredibly amazing type-ins to just become a really solid type-in. To me, it's the direct successor to Suicune, with it being a Calm Mind user. because water types are so hard to get off the field, I think this is why they're so good at being this kind of bulky sweeper. They can afford to take a few turns to set up and don't really have to go for that all-out attack all of the time. It doesn't just have to be calm mind sweepers though. You got a Pokemon like Ogerpon Wellspring who really uses the fact that it can do a lot of different things to its advantage. Its water type basically gives it the time to do whatever it wants. Or a Pokemon like Araquanid, who has all the benefits of being a water type Pokemon, but also has the ability to use sticky webs, making it a bit different from the other bulky waters as it has a specific role, but it still gets by on the fact that it's a relatively hard to get rid of water type. Rain and Sand have historically been the two best weather types. Sand is famous for its ability to deal with chip and just slowly whittle down your opponents, but Rain is an all-out assault. The difference between Rain and Sun, which share a lot of abilities and archetypes with each other, is that Rain is a lot less diluted. Chlorophyll, the Sun equivalent to Swift Swim, is found exclusively on grass types. These are Pokemon that don't receive a stab bonus on top of a weather bonus, and they're also weak to the boosted type. In fact, many of Sun's associated abilities are pretty much grass type exclusive. Swift Swim users are mostly water types, and this means they don't have to deal with these kind of issues. They get a stab bonus, just making water moves incredibly powerful. The only thing bad for weather that they have to do is that it increases the likelihood of moves like Thunder or Electro Shot. But I'd say that these are quite niche moves that you wouldn't run on a non-rain team. So unless your opponent knew that you were going to be running Rain, I don't think you'd see them. This just makes Rain abusers the most powerful weather abusers in the game. They make sure that when it rains, it pours. If you haven't clocked onto this already, water types are pretty hard to get rid of. But what if you made a Pokemon that had stats, which are also hard to get rid of? Then you get what I'm calling the water wall. This is like the bulkier offshoot of the bulky water, if that makes sense. It's where Pokemon like Dondozo or the Slow Twins are. They take advantage of the great typing of the water type alongside some incredible bulk to just become unkillable. The good typing of them makes them hard to break through by super effective hits, and the good stats make them incredibly difficult to break by brute force. This all comes together to make some of the best defensive Pokemon in the game. When you add in that a lot of them have Regenerator, you get everybody's favourite, Stall. This was the thought process that made Toxapex a creature that everybody was terrified of. Combine with it the move Scald, and you get one of the best defensive Pokemon the game has ever seen. Scald is a move that, to me, has comical levels of value, only rivaled by the move Knockoff. Not only is it a great attack, with an amazing typing, but it's also a great attack with incredible typing, which also has the chance to just completely cripple a physical attacker. Scald was so good that it almost removed the move Surf from competitive singles. Most of the types would kill for a move like Surf, but water types didn't even want to use it because they had something far, far better. A move that could not be rivaled. However, in what must have been an Oppenheimer-like moment, Pokemon realized what they had done, and they dropped the Nerf hammer on Scald, making it far, far more rarer. Nowadays, people only tell stories of the reign of Scald, where it was literally on every single Pokemon. I actually really liked the way that Pokemon limited Scald, as they made it much less of a water stab and much more of a water coverage move, with many of the Pokemon who retained access to the move not being water types. But despite their valiant efforts, something new arose from the ashes, or more from the steam, something darker. Alomomola. Alomomola is like the water wall in its truest of forms. It has Regenerator, it has Scald, it can just sit around and do whatever it wants, and you can't really do much about it unless you hit it with an electric or grass move, or you just really, really chip it down over time. But then again, if it switches out, what are you going to do about it? Pokemon like Alomomola or Dondozo or Toxapex or even Quagsire are staples of Stall. And whilst they do all have other things that make them incredible Stall Pokemon, a big part of this is down to their incredible water typing. They will ensure that, much like themselves, the Water Wall will be around for much, much longer. Whilst all of the other archetypes I've talked about come in a bit of a mould, this one is a bit more general. Because water types are so versatile, I don't think that there's really a set style of how a water type attacker can be. I think that the best ones generally tend to have something that set them apart. Walking Wake is a water type that does really well in the sun, and obviously it has booster energy, whereas Hisui and Samurott can set up spikes while attacking. These two are two of the best water type attackers at the moment, and I think that's because they have that extraness to them. The other water type attackers are generally just powerful Pokemon who just happen to be water type. Well, they don't happen to be water type. Water plays a big role in the fact that they are powerful Pokemon. On the special side, you got Pokemon like Keldeo or Greninja, and physically you got Azumarill or Quaquaval. Would they be good if they weren't water types? I would probably say yeah. I mean, Greninja literally isn't a water type for most of the time, but I feel as though water type is something that makes them better. It's a solid typing. Is that something that I have instilled in your mind yet? Because I really want you to grasp that. It's a very solid typing. Water type attackers also benefit from being kind of rain abusers. They're not going to get a super buff from it, but they're still going to do more damage than they were doing before. It's not like they're going to say no to playing in rain. Water has the best variety of moves in the game. They have almost every single type of move that you would need. You need a priority move? They've got it. You need a pivoting move? They have it. You need a trapping move for some reason? They have it. If other types are in a move drought, then water is definitely in the monsoon season. Just look at the physical move options that they have. You've got 2 quality mid-range moves, 2 really useful utility moves, and a really good power move. If you took away 4 of those options, then they would still have it better than physical electric types. Water moves embody the idea of the type, in that they're good in most scenarios. Barring Water Absorb or other abilities like that, there are very few downsides of hitting water type moves. They are consistent, and say it with me, they are solid. Something like Flip Turn, for example, you would think would be great on physical attackers, but it isn't just good on them. It's great utility for bulky Pokemon or even water walls. It provides them with that option to tank a hit and switch, or react to an opponent's switch. You've even got some more situational or limited moves like Water Spout, Crab Hammer, or Vicious Rend, or moves that are exclusive to specific Pokemon like Origin Pulse, Jet Punch, or Surging Strikes. Water has so many good moves that are just viable, whereas most types don't really have even a full set of viable moves. Water moves have something for every situation. Water types are very, very good. To me, they're one of the best types in the game. They are hard to break with no glaring weaknesses, but they also have a ridiculous amount of variety in the Pokemon. Combine these with amazing move options, and you're going to get an amazing type that can function on any team. If you've enjoyed this video or would like to see more from the channel, I would really appreciate it if you think I've earned a like or a subscribe from you. Thank you.